Hello, wonderful people. My name is Andy, and in this video, we're going to talk about order of operations. As I promised in our previous video, I said we're going to be doing videos as and when it becomes necessary. In our previous video, we dealt with one order of operation called the board mass. This video for today is dedicated to PEMDAS, which is also an order of operation. Last time someone was asking me what is an operation, and my answer was very simple. Operation simply means to add, subtract, multiply, squaring, and what have you. And of course, if it is it isn't a number, then probably we'll be talking about an operation. But hey, when you have an expression, you have 7 plus bracket open, 6 times 5 squared plus 3. When you have a situation like this, how are you going to deal with the expression? Sometimes you'll be wondering, should I start from the left to right or right to left? And it becomes a kind of headache. But if you don't follow the right procedure, you normally get it wrong. That is what we're going to deal with. So long ago, people decided to use rules when calculating mathematical expressions. And these rules are called the order of operations. Okay, these rules are called the order of operations because everything was in disorder. People were wondering whether we should tackle mathematical expression from left to right and right to left, or the vice versa, and what have you. So long ago, people decided to let's follow one rule that when you have a mathematical situation, you deal with it. So not yeah. So they decided to come with what we call the order of operation. So in the previous video, we dealt with one which is board mass, and in actual sense, board mass is from the UK. Okay, and today what we're going to deal with is PEMDAS, which is from the USA, and in Canada they have one that they call the bed mass. So we have what we're going to deal with today is PEMDAS. What is someone was asking me what is PEMDAS? Okay, so we're going to take every letter by letter, and then we'll try as much as possible to give an example. Okay, so the first P that you see in PEMDAS means parenthesis. Okay, the parenthesis. Okay, parenthesis, which I also refer to it as bracket. It is the same as the bracket in board mass. So PEMDAS is telling you if you have any mathematical expression that involve parentheses, deal with the parentheses first. So let's have one example here. So we have 4 times bracket open, 5 plus 3 bracket close. The bracket, or I will not say bracket, the parenthesis is the 5 plus 3. That is the parenthesis. So PEMDAS is telling you deal with the parenthesis first. So obviously, if you have a situation like this, all you have to do is you add 5 to 3, and that will give you 8, and we already have times 4 behind the parenthesis, which is the bracket, which is going to give you 4 times 8 is what? 32. But if you don't follow that procedure and you decided to follow the other way, the disorganized way, the other way around, like you deal with like, okay, so because I've seen 4 times 5 in the bracket, So you decide to 4 times 5 is 20, and then when you finish, you want to add the 3. That will give you 23, and that procedure is obviously wrong. So follow the right procedure. Deal with what is in the parenthesis, the bracket first, before you move on to the next one. Now we've done with the parenthesis. What is the E in the PEMDAS doing? What does it mean? Okay, the E is very simple. It means the exponents, the roots, the powers. Okay, raised to the power, the exponent, the powers, and the roots, and the squares, what have you. Okay, so let's take one example. So if you have any mathematical expression that you have parentheses, deal with the parentheses first, and after that, if you have any exponent, you deal with the exponents or root powers and what have you, deal with them. So let's see. So have one example here. So we have 5 multiplied by 2 exponent 2, or 2 raised to the power 2, or 2 squared. So obviously, PEMDAS is telling you deal with the exponent first. So in our previous lesson, we learned about exponent. So 2 exponent 2 simply means 2 is multiplying itself 2 times. And 2 multiply itself 2 times will give you 4. So you have what? 5 times 4, which will give you 20. In the other way around, if you decide to follow another procedure, which you may get it wrong, or you definitely get it wrong, if you decide, okay, so I have 5 times 2 exponent 2. So people decide to, okay, so I have 5 and then I have 2. So I'll multiply 2 by 5, and that will give me 10. And then I have to bring the exponent. That is wrong. You can't do it in that manner. That is obviously wrong. Okay. And from there, the only difference from BODMAS and then the PEMDAS, from PEMDAS, when you deal with the bracket and then the order and then what have you, you move on to the division. But in PEMDAS, when you check the order, it's multiplication first. Okay, but hey, there's a trick here. I'll tell you as we move along. So PEMDAS is telling you that M in PEMDAS is multiplication. So multiply. We're going to multiply. Let's have one example here. We have 2 plus 5 times 3, which is equals to what? It said do the multiplication first. Okay, PEMDAS is telling you do the multiplication first before the others will follow. So 2 plus 15, that is 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15, and then you bring your 2. So 2 plus 15, which will give you 17. But if you follow the other way around, you're going to get it wrong. Like you decide to do the addition first. So 2 plus 5 will give you 7. Before you multiply by 3 will give you 21. That is obviously wrong. You don't have to follow that way. Now, let's move on to the D. The D is division. Okay, so the division, we have what? 30. We have one example here, which is 30 divided by 5 times 3. This is the trick I was talking about. In PEMDAS, it is telling you deal with multiplication first in that order. But in actual sense, if you deal with the multiplication first before the division, you get it wrong. So always remember, if you have division, you deal with the division before you move on to multiplication. Okay, you deal with the division before you move on to the multiplication. That is the trick about PEMDAS. So we have one example here, 30 divided by 5, or 30 divided 5 times 3. So I would decide to deal with the division first. So 30 divided 5 is what? Or 5 divided 30 is 6. And then before I multiply by the 3. So which will give us what? 18. But if you decide to follow the other way around, like you decide to do the multiplication first, for example, 5 times 3, and that will give you what? 15. 5 times 3 will give you 15. And now it is left with divided by 30. So 15 divided 30 is 2, which is obviously wrong. So I'm telling you, always deal with the division first before the multiplication if they are in one equation or expression. Okay, all right. And always from that, from after you, one thing is for sure, after you've done with the parenthesis and then the exponent, you deal with the multiplication or the division. And then you know the opposite of multiplication is division, so the two move together, and from there you come to addition and then subtraction. So you work them together, you do them from left to right. Okay, you add them or you subtract them from left to right. In division, the same thing, you do them from left to right. Okay, left to right. And when you do that, everything will be sorted out. Do them after the exponent and then the parentheses and then the exponent. Deal with multiplication and division from left to right, and then addition and subtraction from left to right in that manner. But make sure if there's a division and multiplication at the same time in an expression, deal with the division before you move on to multiplication. Okay, so that is all for now. Thank you very much for being part of for watching us, and of course we'll be doing videos as and when it becomes necessary. My name has been Andy, and keep the hopes alive. Subscribe to the channel and share with your friends and family, everybody. Let them know